The arena of flame was silent. A moment earlier, the battlefield had been filled with the thunder of weapons and the roar of thousands of Vereth warriors. Now, only the desert wind moved through the massive stone arena carved deep into the red cliffs. At the center stood Darius Ven. Blue energy wrapped around his body like living fire. The blade of command had dissolved into pure light and surged into him. Alien runes now glowed faintly across his arms and armor. Across from him, the massive warlord Xar tightened his grip on his plasma spear. "This is impossible," Xar growled. But the warriors in the stands knew their own legends. For thousands of years, the blade had always obeyed the queen of the Vereth. Never a stranger, never an outsider, and certainly never a human. Yet the blade had chosen. The energy surrounding Darius suddenly pulsed. The blue light condensed in his hand once again, reforming the sword, sleeker, brighter, almost alive. The ground beneath his feet ignited with glowing alien symbols. Xar roared and charged. His spear struck like lightning, smashing into the stone arena floor as Darius jumped aside. The impact shattered rock and sent molten fragments flying through the air. The crowd erupted with deep rhythmic chants. Xar attacked again. Faster. Stronger. Each strike carried the force of a war machine. Darius barely kept up. He had fought aliens before, but the Vereth were built for battle. Xar moved with terrifying speed, his spear sweeping through the air like a storm. Darius raised the blade. The sword reacted instantly. Blue light flared as it intercepted the spear. Energy exploded outward in a violent shockwave that shook the entire arena. For a brief moment, the two warriors stood locked together. Human. Alien. Then the blade flared brighter than the sun. Xar's spear cracked down the center. The weapon shattered. The warlord staggered backward and fell to one knee. Silence crashed over the arena. Darius lowered the blade slowly. "I don't want to kill you," he said. Xar lifted his head. Anger burned in his glowing eyes, but something else was there now. Respect. The massive warrior slammed his fist against the stone floor. "I yield." A ripple moved through the crowd. Then one by one, the Vereth warriors dropped their weapons. Thousands of armored soldiers knelt. Their voices thundered together. "The blade has spoken. The Queen's choice." That night, the broken citadel of the Vereth glowed beneath the twin moons of Sereth Prime. The once mighty palace had been shattered during the war with humanity. Towers lay broken. Great walls had collapsed into fields of ash. But one balcony still stood high above the desert. There, Queen Cathora looked out over the endless dunes. Darius approached quietly behind her. "You could take it back," he said, holding the blade toward her. The weapon hummed softly in the night air. Cathora looked at it for a long moment. Then she shook her head. "The blade of command has never made a mistake," she said. "Not in 10,000 years. Darius frowned. "So now I'm part of a 10,000-year alien tradition? Great." Her glowing eyes studied him. "You carry the mark of the blade." He glanced at the alien runes burned into his palm. "Yeah, I noticed." Cathora turned toward the stars. "Long ago, our people believed the blade was alive, that it chose rulers not for power, but for balance." Darius crossed his arms. "And it picked a tired human soldier with a bad shoulder?" "Perhaps," she said calmly, "because you did not seek it." Before he could respond, alarms erupted across the citadel. Red lights flashed. Vereth soldiers rushed through the corridors. A young officer burst onto the balcony. "Your Majesty, long-range scanners have detected incoming fleets." Cathora's expression hardened. "Terran ships." "No, my queen." The officer hesitated. "Unknown signatures." Darius frowned. "Unknown how?" The officer activated a holographic display. Hundreds of dark ship markers appeared across the star map. They were moving information. Slow. Massive. Terrifying. Cathora whispered one word. "Xar." The Third Empire. Hours later, the war chamber of the Citadel filled with commanders from both sides of the former war. Human officers from the United Terran Front stood beside Vereth generals in towering alien armor. Just days earlier they had been trying to kill each other. Now they stared together at the same enemy. The holographic map expanded. Black warships filled the outer edge of the system. "They're enormous," one Terran admiral muttered. Cathora stepped forward. "The Xar Dominion is older than my empire," she said. "They do not conquer planets. They erase them." Darius leaned against the table. "So why come here?" "Because we are weak." The room fell silent. Cathora continued. The war between our peoples devastated both empires. Our fleets are damaged. Our colonies are vulnerable. And the Xar watched the galaxy for moments like this. One Vereth commander added quietly, they harvest civilizations. Darius raised an eyebrow. Harvest? They enslave the survivors, the alien said, and turn them into soldiers. The hologram zoomed closer. One Xar flagship alone was larger than a Terran carrier. Scouts confirm the first battle group will reach Sereth Prime in 3 days, the officer said. 3 days. That was all the time they had. Darius looked around the room. Well, he said slowly, looks like the war isn't over. Cathora turned toward him. No. She looked at the blade glowing in his hand. It has only begun. The impossible alliance. Within hours, a message was broadcast across the galaxy. For the first time in history, human and Vereth fleets assembled together. Terran warships arrived first. Massive cruisers, carrier groups, destroyers. Then the Vereth armadas descended from orbit, sleek alien vessels glowing with violet plasma engines. At first the fleets kept their distance. Old enemies, old hatred. But slowly, the ships began forming a single battle line. Human commanders shared targeting data with alien pilots. Vereth engineers synchronized shield systems with Terran technology. 2 militaries, 2 cultures, 1 desperate alliance. Inside the command bridge, Darius stared through the viewport. Thousands of ships filled the darkness. Never thought I'd see this, he said quietly. Cathora stood beside him. Neither did I. He raised the blade slightly. For the record, I still think you should be holding this thing. She gave a small smile. Perhaps I am. He looked confused. How? She tapped his chest. Through you. Suddenly the entire bridge shook. Alarms screamed. Enemy ships exiting hyperspace. Outside the viewport, space twisted violently. Then they appeared. The Xar Armada. Colossal black warships sliding out of the void like moving mountains. Cold. Silent. Unstoppable. Darius tightened his grip on the blade. Well, he said quietly, looks like the prophecy is about to get tested. Cathora looked out at the approaching fleet. Thousands of enemy vessels filled the stars. 2 empires had once tried to destroy each other. Now they stood together. Because sometimes survival demands something greater than victory. Outside the viewport, weapons powered up across the combined fleet. Blue Terran cannons. Violet Vereth plasma arrays. 2 civilizations ready to fight as one. The war of 2 empires had begun.